Imagine a city standing at the very heart of the modern world, crowded, smoky, ambitious, and restless. A city where wealth and poverty existed side by side, where horse-drawn carriages rattled through narrow streets beneath gaslit lamps, and where the Industrial Revolution reshaped everyday life at a relentless pace. This is London in the 1850s. At mid-century, London was the largest city on Earth, the nerve center of a global empire, and a living experiment in urban modernity. Through historical records, contemporary illustrations, and cutting-edge AI reconstruction, we journey back to Victorian London at a moment when the city was transforming forever. By the 1850s, London's population had surpassed 2.5 million, making it the most populous city in human history at the time. People poured in from rural England, Ireland, and across Europe, drawn by the promise of work and opportunity. The city expanded rapidly outward, swallowing villages and farmland to create new districts connected by railways and horse-drawn omnibuses. London was no longer just a capital. It was a global metropolis. This explosive growth placed enormous strain on infrastructure. Streets were congested with carts, carriages, pedestrians, and animals. Housing shortages forced working-class families into overcrowded tenements, while the wealthy retreated into newly developed suburbs. London in the 1850s was a city of extremes, constantly balancing progress with chaos. The streets of 1850s London were alive with motion. Horse-drawn hansom cabs, omnibuses, delivery wagons, and private carriages competed for space on muddy, uneven roads. Sidewalks were narrow, often poorly maintained, and crowded with vendors, beggars, laborers, and children at work. The railway revolution had already begun to reshape the city. Major stations such as Paddington, Euston, and King's Cross connected London to the rest of Britain, accelerating commerce and migration. Trains thundered into iron and glass terminals, symbols of industrial power and technological optimism. Yet these same railways displaced entire neighborhoods, forcing thousands from their homes. London's social divisions were starkly visible in its architecture. The wealthy lived in elegant townhouses in areas like Mayfair, Belgravia, and Kensington, complete with servants, gas lighting, and private gardens. These neighborhoods symbolized Victorian respectability and imperial confidence. In contrast, the working poor crowded into slums such as St. Giles, Whitechapel, and parts of Southwark. Here, families often shared single rooms, sanitation was almost non-existent, and disease spread rapidly. Cellars and attic spaces were rented to multiple tenants, creating conditions that horrified social reformers of the era. The physical distance between rich and poor was often only a few streets, yet socially they lived in entirely different worlds. London in the 1850s was not only a center of trade, but also of industry. Factories, workshops, docks, and warehouses lined the Thames and filled industrial districts. Men, women, and children worked long hours in dangerous conditions for low wages. Dock workers unloaded goods from across the empire: tea, sugar, cotton, timber, and spices, fueling Britain's global economy. Child labor was common. Many children worked as street sellers, factory hands, or apprentices from a very young age. For the working class, daily life was physically demanding and uncertain, shaped by illness, unemployment, and economic cycles. Yet labor movements and early trade unions were beginning to form, laying the groundwork for future social reforms.
The River Thames was the lifeblood of London, but by the 1850s it had become dangerously polluted. Raw sewage, industrial waste, and animal remains flowed directly into the river, contaminating drinking water. Cholera outbreaks repeatedly swept through the city, killing tens of thousands. The connection between sanitation and disease was still poorly understood, but reformers pushed for change. The crisis reached its peak in 1858 during the Great Stink, when the smell of the Thames became so unbearable that Parliament was forced to act. This period marked the beginning of modern urban sanitation, leading to the construction of London's revolutionary sewer system later in the century. Gaslighting transformed London's nights. By the 1850s, thousands of gas lamps illuminated major streets, bridges, and public spaces, extending commercial and social life after dark. The glow of gaslight gave the city an eerie yet modern atmosphere, symbolizing technological progress. Industrial noise filled the air. Steam engines, factory machinery, shipyards, and railways created a constant mechanical backdrop. London was loud, smoky, and often overwhelming. Coal smoke darkened buildings and skies, contributing to the infamous London fogs that blended mist with pollution into thick, suffocating smog. With rapid urbanization came fear of crime and disorder. The Metropolitan Police, founded in 1829, had expanded significantly by the 1850s. Uniformed officers patrolled streets to deter theft, violence, and public disturbances. Despite this, crime remained a major concern, especially in poorer districts. Pickpocketing, burglary, and fraud were common, while sensational crimes captivated the Victorian public through newspapers and illustrated journals. London's dense population and anonymity made it a place of opportunity and danger, shaping the era's fascination with crime, morality, and reform. Despite its hardships, 1850s London was a vibrant cultural center. Theaters, music halls, and public lectures offered entertainment across class lines. The Great Exhibition of 1851, held in the Crystal Palace, showcased industrial achievements from around the world and celebrated Britain's technological dominance. Coffee houses, pubs, and clubs served as social hubs. Newspapers flourished, spreading news, political debate, and serialized fiction to a growing literate population. Writers like Charles Dickens captured the city's contrasts, bringing London's streets, struggles, and characters vividly to life. London in the 1850s stood at a turning point. It was a city grappling with the consequences of rapid industrialization while unknowingly laying the foundations of the modern urban world. Sanitation reforms, transportation networks, labor movements, and technological innovations would soon reshape daily life. Through AI reconstruction, we can visualize this pivotal decade, its crowded streets, smoky skylines, and human stories. The London of the 1850s was imperfect, unequal, and often harsh, yet it was also resilient, dynamic, and transformative. It was here, amid fog and gaslight, that the modern city truly began.